Welcome back. The name Lindsay Clancy has been nearly impossible to miss, with her murder trial unfolding in court and across social media. The Massachusetts mother is facing 3 counts of murder in the 2023 deaths of her 3 young children. Her defense argues she was suffering from postpartum psychosis at the time. Clancy's trial started last month, and this week a doctor who treated her faced tough questions in court. Sarah Congi reports.
She did not have pressured speech.
A tense day in the Lindsay Clancy trial as her primary psychiatrist took the stand for a second day of testimony. Clancy is accused of killing her 3 children in their Duxbury home in January of 2023. Her defense claims she suffered from postpartum psychosis and over-medication.
She was scared of the drugs, right?
She was afraid to take a medication.
She wasn't doctor shopping and asking you to give her drugs so she could get high. She was asking you for help.
Dr. Jennifer Tufts treated Clancy for 14 telehealth visits over a 4-month period. Clancy's defense pressing Tufts on whether she did enough.
What did you do? You got a woman that's telling you that she's hopeless. She doesn't care if she dies. She can't sleep. What did you do to validate on your therapy?
Well, I told her that this was something that we could address, that there was hope, that there were treatments.
But Tufts also testified about never seeing any signs of psychosis.
So there were no serious signs that her safety or that anyone else's safety was at risk.
The Lindsay Clancy trial is putting a rare but serious maternal mental health condition in the national spotlight. Postpartum psychosis can cause significant changes in a new mother's thoughts, perception, and behavior, including a loss of contact with reality. But how is it different from postpartum depression? And how can loved ones recognize a medical emergency? Therapist Karin Lindquist from Cornerstone's Phoenix Outpatient Treatment Center joins us live to talk more about this condition. Explain exactly what postpartum psychosis is.
So postpartum psychosis has a bunch of different little pieces to it. When you think of psychosis, you think of hearing voices, seeing things that are not there, maybe sometimes even feeling things that are not there. Mm-hmm. There are so many other parts to it where it might be rumination on thoughts, having delusions. I kind of think of it as like your teleprompter getting stuck.
Wow.
On these deep, dark thoughts.
Right. And does that happen, immediately afterwards, or what is the time frame of this?
Time frame, let's think about it. How long does it take for you to get exhausted?
Yeah.
It's a couple weeks, right?
Right.
So you're super exhausted by week 2. Mm-hmm. And you have slept maybe 3-4 hours over the last week because you're worried about your infant.
Of course.
Whether they're still breathing, whether they're still next to you, whether they've done anything, really, because it's a nuance. Like an infant's a nuance to you.
A lot of people, of course, they're familiar and they hear a lot about postpartum depression, not so much psychosis. What is the major difference between the two?
So with postpartum depression, it is that drastic drop into a low where you're just in the pits. And that happens in 1 in every 5 to 7 women.
Wow.
And then when it comes to psychosis, it's actually a lot more prevalent than what we give it credit for. It's 1 in every 1,000, maybe even 2 in every 1,000 women. And so that is less talked about because us as women—
It's not as often, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta think, we kind of gaslight ourselves into thinking,
I'm
tired.
fine,
I'm exhausted. Oh, that was just the fan. I heard something random from the news over here.
Right.
Or somebody left a TV on in the corner. It's fine, everything's fine.
Yeah. Oh,
but
gosh.
we end up going deeper and darker. And that's when it turns into the situation of, oh my gosh, I am so exhausted.
Yeah.
Maybe I have some OCD, like my kid is sick. And so that's when people might play into that Munchausen's by proxy
Right.
piece that so many people have heard about. in the past with other cases. So it turns into this whole big thing of, okay, I have this particular set of symptoms.
Right.
I have delusions. I have
Hallucinations.
hallucinations, thoughts of grandeur.
Right.
I believe that I'm seeing either the devil or Jesus in my kid.
Yeah.
They are heaven sent, and they're going to deliver us all.
Yeah,
It
that
could be
is a
any
lot
number of
more
things.
extreme than obviously being depressed.
Yeah.
For people who are closest to someone who is suffering from postpartum psychosis, I mean, what can they do?
It's giving that mom a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Maybe giving them that moment where they're able to actually, oh, I see that you have some dishes. I'm going to do that while you take some time with baby.
Yeah.
Or, hey, maybe you want to go take a shower? I've got your baby. Let
help
me be
them.
a friend.
Yes.
Let me maybe make you a handful of meals that you can just slap into the microwave and be perfectly happy over.
Right.
And you don't have to think about how am I going to feed my family of 3 or 4.
Right. But I mean, what if it's not that easy? What if it's not, okay, I'll hold your baby for you. I'll take care of them. You know, what if it's a lot more serious? Then what?
Having the conversations, being just an ear, because sometimes we just need to be heard. We're in that space where we don't get to voice what we need from others.
Yeah. What else should people know, and where can they get help if someone is really worried about that person?
Absolutely. So there is a postpartum support institution that has a warm line. It's got a texting line. And then you also have the capability of calling the hospital too. It's not this big scary thing where they're going to take away your kids.
Yeah.
They're going to be there to help. And postpartum psychosis is completely reversible.
Wow.
However, it is more prevalent in those who have already had a bipolar or psychotic set of symptoms prior to getting pregnant.
Okay. And finally, what is your one last message to people, to new moms, you know, who maybe they're afraid of being judged, or, you know, they're just ashamed of it? What would you say to them?
That there are so many support groups. There are so many people who are willing to listen and hear you out and give you that grace and space.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Karin, we so appreciate your insight and your very important advice. It really, really means a lot to so many people out there who do need that help. We want to leave that information on your screen for you if you do need help. The National Maternal Mental Health Hotline is available around the clock. You can call or text 1-833-TLC-MAMA, M-A-M-A. If someone is in immediate danger, call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room.